my name is Liz, and you're watching for Booking Out Loud. So today I want to do a book review for The Island of Sea Women by Lisa C. And I finished this book last weekend, and I had a little bit of time to go over my feelings for it and just my overall thoughts. And I think it's a very good book to actually do a review. So first, let's get started. What's this book about? The Island of Sea Women is about two young girls, Young Suk and Mija, who are growing up on an island called Jeju in South Korea. They're two young girls with very, very different backgrounds, but they are growing up in a society that is teaching them to be women divers, which is a very unique profession specific to Jeju Island. Now, this book is set in the 1930s and the 1940s and really follows these two women throughout their lives. It takes place over Japanese colonization through World War II, post-World War II, where American colonization really happened, and the Korean War. So really turbulent times in Korea, and specifically on this island that these women are growing up in. I was able to find this book through a local independent bookstore when I was just looking and browsing, and I'm really, really glad I picked it up just because it was very unique and it had very beautiful language. Now, what makes these two girls really special and a really good choice on Lisa C's part is that Young Suk herself is born from a long line of women divers. And so she's always known that she would be a woman diver and take over her mom's role of the head woman diver of their collective, their village collective. But Mija herself is the daughter of a Japanese collaborator, which is very much looked down upon in this society and in their village. And that follows Mija throughout her whole life. And these two distinctions really shadow both girls as they grow up, shadows their marriage and who they marry, and it even shadows their children as they are seeking out their own lives, which is really, really interesting. It's even more interesting too, as a historical fiction book, you really see how these two backgrounds are not only influential, but distinctive in Korean society, in Jeju society. And it really does lead Mija as a character as this mysterious figure almost, because it's mostly Young Suk, the narrator for this book. So Mija is really this mysterious character that you're trying to figure out throughout the whole book. And I really, really enjoyed that. Now, the writing itself is very, very beautiful. The prose is wonderful. And the pacing itself is very consistent throughout at least the first half of the book. And then when World War II is over and the Korean War really takes place, there's a couple of very significant events that happen in Jeju Island specifically that I was personally unaware of. And this book does a decent job of describing them, and I personally want to do a lot more research myself, but I often saw the book really pick up pace, and it almost was like the events themselves were a bit too overreaching and too powerful, that it almost was like the story was taking them unnecessarily as a plot point to drive the story forward. And I had a little bit of a problem with it, but it was me personally that had a problem with it, because the events themselves are true. They're true facts, they're historical facts. And this story is using them as a backdrop, right? And so that's my personal gripe with this book. It's still a beautiful book, and I just want to learn more about it and to research it myself, because that's also a failing, I guess, for lack of a better word, on my part for not knowing about these events beforehand, before picking up this book. So yeah. But I do think Lisa C. herself did a fantastic job using historical events and historical background as a backdrop to really showcase friendship between these two young women and how friendship develops over time and morphs into completely new things, changes, adapts, and how it's not just a linear friendship. It doesn't just continue on beautifully, but it's a really ever-changing thing, because friendship is a human emotion, and human emotions are complicated, point blank. So as a whole, I would say that The Island of Sea Women by Lisa C. is a beautiful, beautiful book. If you are in any way a fan of historical fiction or a fan of just powerful women relationships and complicated relationships at its base, I would highly suggest that you pick up this book. These two women go through some of the worst of humanity, and Lisa C. is really, really able to show the strengths of human relationships within this book, and the strengths of resilience, and the strengths of women. So I just suggest giving it a read if you're feeling a little bit inclined. If you see it at your library, pick it up. If you see it at a used bookstore, pick it up. If you even just want to pick it up at your local independent bookstore, yes, do it. But that is my review. Hopefully I didn't think I spoiled anything. So just as an FYI. But there you go. If you liked this review at all, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions for me that sounded like this book, historical fiction, great relationships, please leave it in the comments below, because honestly, really, really enjoyed this book and it took me by surprise. But I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.